Oh, you're still here, I guess. They haven't made YouTube a paid subscription service yet. Well, so much has been getting in the way of making YouTube videos lately. I spent some time in India. They loved me so much they literally wouldn't let me leave the country, which was fine by me. England sucks. Although I did keep telling them my name isn't Johnny Sins. Subscribers may have noticed I've moved house like 5 times in the past few years, mainly due to landlords being absolute. But good news, everyone. I'm finally in a place where I don't have to worry about being forced to move again. Around October, when I'd packed up most of my stuff and there was only a little bit of furniture left, I did sit down and attempt to make a video, but the vibes just weren't there. As you can probably tell, I like my videos to look a certain way, although apparently I'm wasting my time, as I've had at least one person comment and say how poorly lit they are.
In no way is that accurate.
I've noticed a lot of other YouTubers that I like, who were posting regularly, have now either stopped entirely or post once in a blue moon, and I can totally see why. The world is going through economic, environmental, and political hardships that are possibly the worst we've ever seen. The people responsible know what they're doing is wrong, but they're going to keep doing it anyway because they're not content with having some of the money and power, they want it all. Most of these people are probably also landlords. That might not seem relevant to gaming or YouTube, but it actually is. I've made videos on how both Sony and Microsoft have ruined the games industry in their own ways, leaving Nintendo out only because I don't know enough about them to comment. And those videos could now probably be double the length if we were to add just what has gone on in the past few years. Making good games seems to be the absolute last thing on the list for these companies. God of War Ragnarok might be an alright game. I wouldn't know, I don't have 6 fucking gigabytes of VRAM on my graphics card. Again, it's not that we need the new hardware, it's not that we needed PS5 to even exist, or buy insanely beefy gaming PCs. 1080p's old news now, everyone's got a 4K TV. Well, you want to run your games at 4K at 60 frames per second? Well, you'll need a more expensive console or a better graphics card. Games like Metal Gear Solid 5, Horizon Forbidden West, and even smaller titles like Plague Tale Requiem prove that with decent engines and efficient optimization, a moderate system can run amazing looking games buttery smooth. My years-old gaming laptop rendered 300,000 RATs at a consistent 60 FPS in Plague Tale. Graphically, it's one of the best games I've ever played, and more importantly, the game itself is fucking brilliant. Anyway, the £20 that I earned through YouTube ad revenue before they changed all the rules and demonetised all small channels is not quite enough to cover the cost of an RTX 3050. Which leads me to another absolute scourge on humanity corporation that's currently robbing us all, YouTube. Or I guess Google in general, but I'm mainly talking about YouTube because it's still the primary place that video creators can even have a hope that their work will be recognised and rewarded. I'm still here for the long haul and I appreciate you coming to the channel, especially those of you who are still watching this video because update videos are usually dead on arrival. In fact, it may actually be detrimental to the entire channel as a whole to even post an update video. That's how fucked the algorithm is. The point is, YouTube continues to get worse in every conceivable way. The other day I had my headphones on Bluetooth, just doing some housework, listening to YouTube, and this ad comes on that's like these gospel singers just going, I believe in Jesus, Jesus is my saviour. I believe in Jesus, Jesus is my saviour. Except not even as good as that, like that was pretty damn awesome compared to what they were doing. Anyway, it got to 3 minutes or something of this just repeating over and over. And I'm like, for a start, what the hell is this even advertising? Why is it relevant to me? And also, it seems that you can just put any length of any kind of video on as an ad on YouTube now. What the fuck? Then there's these stories completely written and edited by AI. Needless to say, they're shit. In fact, I'm sure most of us know now how ridiculous YouTube is getting about making the site family friendly and demonetizing channels and videos that have swearing in them, or even if they say certain words, even if that video is like just reporting a news story. Yet another ad that I had the other day was for an AI written audiobook, and in this particular scene a guy was witnessing his girlfriend being taken against her will and gang raped. So, not only YouTube are you only paying people who have millions and millions of views on their channels, but at the same time you're ramping up ads massively, you're making the site barely usable and making your massive company look increasingly like a crypto bro startup that's just about to drop a new meme coin. But you know, it's still very possible to get popular on YouTube, although I've noticed it's way easier for newer channels to amass subscribers and go semi-viral than it is for a channel like mine that has nearly 300 videos. Perhaps it's because this channel has and always will be a variety channel that covers a lot of topics within gaming. Not every subscriber will watch every video, as opposed to a channel that's found a specific niche.
Why does the planet Gagarin in the hit 2023 video game Starfield have so many pipes?
But it got me thinking, what would this channel look like if I took my most popular video and ran with it? Hello viewers, and welcome to part 6 of 17 on why Skyrim is the worst game of all time. In my 8,000 hours of research playing this game, I have discovered down to the finest detail of how dumbed down the story and gameplay mechanics are, especially when compared to Bethesda's earlier masterpiece, Morrowind, of which I also have a 5-hour retrospective on the channel. This time we will be covering the Nirn route. How have Bethesda ruined this iconic plant? How have they retconned the lore? Are you able to believably roleplay as a Nirn root cultivator? No, because modern Bethesda sucks, and I need to tell you about it in this 23-hour long video series. Yeah, some of these Bethesda love-hate channels really blew up when Starfield released. I know of at least one channel that started making videos in this style because, I kid you not, he was waiting for another YouTuber that he liked to do their 5-hour long review and got bored of waiting, so just made their own video instead. It's shocking how many channels of this style have become relatively popular, even with just 4 or 5 videos on the channel, and it's even more shocking how many channels never made it past that, despite sometimes gaining tens of thousands of subscribers in a matter of months. I am certain that most of these channels only did a handful of video essays for their media studies degree, and then realised how much hard work it was and gave up because they couldn't be arsed. The Nelly, a cruising yawl, swung to her anchor without a flutter of the sails. The flood had made, the wind was nearly calm, and being bound down the river, the only thing for it was to come to and wait for the turn of the tide. This is the opening line from the novel Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad. It's also the only line of the book I happen to have read. I have, however, played all of the 2008 Ubisoft first-person shooter Far Cry 2. It's a pretty badass game, but that's irrelevant. I aim to detail why the developers were tearing Heart of Darkness books up into a fine powder by the hundreds and snorting it up their nostrils, with citations from relevant people of colour because colonialism. Longform seems to be back in a big way on YouTube, which is fine for me. I was one of the first gaming channels to do long-form content on YouTube with my Metal Gear Solid and Resident Evil reviews.
From the opening screen, which says Resident Evil and has a 6 displayed in jizz, that's when I knew this game would be total wank.
Inspired more so by Red Letter Media's Star Wars reviews than anything gaming related.
They will never go away. It can never be undone.
As I said before, I prefer doing a wider variety of videos, and that includes the length of time the videos are. But at the time I started YouTube, the common advice was You must do 10 minutes or less videos. Shorter videos are the way to go. And these kinds of long-form video essay style channels are what I enjoy most on YouTube, despite me taking the piss. But what really gets to me about, well, most channels, but these kinds of channels in particular, is that a lot of them just talk over random, often looped gameplay footage. Imagine if this whole video, rather than seeing a variety of footage which is usually related to the things that I'm actually saying at that moment, you were to just see this short clip of me playing Returnal on a loop, whilst in the background I say how games have become too woke now, and The Last of Us is race mixing propaganda or something. Yeah, that sounds pretty boring to me. That's most gaming channels now. The Retro Perspective was initially supposed to be a collaboration, which is one of the main reasons I made the website, theretroperspective.com, so other people could contribute videos and articles. It never worked out that way, unfortunately. The other day I realised I'd been paying way more than I should have been this whole time for the website, because I'd initially set it up to have multiple users. People who seemed eager to contribute at the time, but then just didn't. This is a reoccurring theme in my life. I like having the website, but I'm still unsure if it's necessary or if I can even afford it for much longer. I've never expected my viewers to pay for anything. As much as I appreciate the occasional donation I've got over the years, Google can afford to pay YouTubers for their work. But here's the reality. I need to pay for this house, and I can barely afford my bills. Currently, working freelance in the music industry is one of the few things keeping me sane. I'm sick of working for companies, answering to people who are extracting my labour to make themselves even richer. It's insane to think that when I had like 200 subscribers, I was getting paid just a little bit, and it makes it even more annoying that even just like £20 a week from YouTube would be such a huge weight off my shoulders, so I can afford to replace a light if it goes. I've spent a lot of time thinking about how the channel should be run moving forward, but I guess all I can do for now is try and upload more regularly and hope for the best. Though weirdly enough, in the periods where I have uploaded regularly, my average view count has stayed the same, as if I hadn't uploaded at all, so with all that said, the channel is moving forward as it was, but I'm certainly open to suggestions from you. I've been Jake of The Retro Perspective, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.